Welcome, everyone, to week 13 of the Power Play podcast. I am Michael Ledoux.
I am the Dan Dallin.
And I am Trey Ledoux.
Trey Ledoux at 19, 19, and 6. It says your name is. I don't know why your name is 19, 19, and 6. Can you please explain that, Trey?
So right now the Canucks record is 19, 19, and 6. And it's about to be 20, 19, and 6 because we have a game tonight.
You have a game tonight. Who are you playing tonight? As a matter of fact, we might be cutting into that game time, right? Who are the Canucks playing and what time?
The Blackhawks at 7:30.
Blackhawks at 7:30. Wow, that's awesome. So you're going to be really pumped to watch that later, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes, good stuff. Hey, so right off the bat, because Coach Taylor has practice coming up, we want to jump in and introduce him and get an interview going because he has to jump off relatively soon to get to practice. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce the head coach of the Hobart Statesman men's hockey team, currently ranked number 6 U.S. College Hockey Online Division III in the country. Great record. Things are going really well, Coach, and we're really pleased to have you on the podcast. We're especially pleased because my partner, the Dan Dallin, was able to call a Hobart game in Pulaski, New York this year. So I'm going to welcome you, and I'm going to kind of shift gears and turn it over to Dan. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you very much, Mike. Glad to be here.
Excellent. So, Coach, if you guys should just start off by giving us a little bit of some hockey background, right? How'd you get into hockey, and how have you hung in there for so long?
Well, I've hung in there for so long because I love it. To me, it's not hanging in there. It's, hunger to get after it, I guess. So, I started playing like everybody up in Northern New York. You started playing in the street with your older brothers and your neighborhood buddies. And then you went through minor hockey in high school and college and got to play a couple years after that. And then was able to start my coaching career with a great mentor at Middlebury, and then on to Brown and Vermont and Cornell and UMass Lowell, and then ended up here at Hobart College.
Yeah. How does that experience? Well, that was loud and awkward, right? How does that experience compare? I mean, you were assistant coaching a few different D1 teams, head coach of D3 teams, so very different roles and responsibilities, and it appears to be different types of leagues.
Well, I think it depends on who you're working with. I mean, it changes a little bit as your head coach. I mean, the buck stops with you. So, but if you're working for people that you have a lot of allegiance to, I mean, at Cornell, I was an assistant for my former head coach in college and one of my mentors. So, the last thing you wanted to do is, fall short for him. So, I think the pressures remain the same if you're the right type of an assistant in the sense that, you don't want to let the ball drop for the guy you're working for. So that changed, certainly get off the road a little bit. As assistant, you do a lot more of the dog work and the recruiting. And so, as you get older and you have a family, it's important to make sure you got enough time for them. So, that's the shift. You're doing more stuff like this versus making calls to recruits and watching tapes.
Right. And what about looking at those different players, right? How they're performing? What do you look for differently from when you were an assistant compared to now as the head coach?
I think as you go along up through your years, I can say this: it's not really much as an assistant as much as it is a head coach, in the sense that as you move up through, you're not as in love with skill as much anymore. You tend to look more and harder at character and the quality of the competitive person, and look and see what the person's all about, what's going to drive their development, and you walk away from some highly talented people that you just don't feel fit your culture.
Yeah, that's Coach. That's interesting. I have a little bit of a tie. I was born in Lowell, Massachusetts, and I know you spent a lot of time at the University of Massachusetts Lowell. And as a kid, growing up and being a huge hockey fan, I was a big fan of that. I'm dating myself a little bit. They were a Division II program when I was a kid, and they did quite well nationally. They actually won some national championships, and Bill Riley was their head coach. I don't know if you remember Coach Billy Riley.
I know Billy well.
I was really happy to get you on because I know that a little bit about your pedigree, and a buddy of mine who I coached at Nashville High School for a long time as an assistant coach and as a lacrosse coach, and you probably know Gary Bishop too. He coached at Bishop Girton High School, so we do have some ties there. It's really great.
Yeah, Rouse and Bishops are great guys.
Yeah. Now, were you there when it was it always Division I hockey when you were at UMass Lowell?
Yeah, when I was at Lowell, I was there. We were a year and a half in Tully, and then I was in that time period when we switched from Tully to Songus Arena.
Okay.
Which I'm glad I had a little time in Tully because that had a neat culture there.
Yeah, it was that was an old barn. It still is. I mean, I think Chelmsford High School plays there now. But what's it like? I guess one of my questions is, you're from Canton, New York. It seems like every coach we've talked to lately is. I know you probably saw the list of the characters that we've been talking to. They're all from Canton, Potsdam, Lake Placid area. It seems like you guys have all done quite well for yourself.
Well, I think it's a nice reflection on, who the people that have brought us up through sports. Specifically, I should say specifically, but certainly with hockey. I mean, I always say it. I don't have a coach that I played with or worked for that I just don't have strong admiration for. I mean, I love my squirt coach. Arlie Parker was my peewee coach, and he made boys feel like men. And my high school coaches, Jet Reynolds was a teacher there, and DeCasio was in Coakley's and played for Terry Martin. And I think you can kind of draw a line between a lot of those people, and they certainly probably rub shoulders with a lot of the same guys that you've already talked to. And
right.
I think that's for me, being in coaching, I love hockey. I also love my time with my teammates, and hockey to me has always been drilled into me that it's you try and give back as much as you can, and I hope the guys when they leave here, I feel the same way about their teammates and feel the same way about their time as I do. I can't, it was a great time in my life.
Those are some really good words that you shared about the different coaches and remembering them. And I know a lot of times when we're talking with successful coaches like yourself, we're always wondering about, hey, how can players do this, that, or the other thing? But now, just the way you said that makes me want to ask, what can coaches do, right? Coaches in the youth hockey program, how can they provide a similar experience for the youth that you had growing up?
Just remember, it's the kids' time. And, I don't even know my record right now. God's honest truth. I know we're trying to hang on to first place, and I think we're 12, 13, or 14 wins, and I know we're 4 losses. I know we're 4 losses.
I bet you do.
and for me, all I'm thinking about is this coming weekend. And you preach that. You just focus on the game at hand and the time at hand, and don't get caught up in all the numbers. And some of that stuff you got to pay attention to if you want to play after and get an NCAA bid. But for me, it's not what drives me. What drives me is what's coming up next. And I think is just, hey, if the kids love coming to the rink, and your third liner feels as important as your first liner, and your first liner feels great about your third liner, you're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah. And that, as a coach, I actually strive for that. Sometimes you fall short. You got to adjust and adapt, especially with 14-year-old boys. It's, they're in some really formative times as hockey players, and you really want to do the right thing by them. And it isn't always about the wins and the losses. It's about the lessons learned along the way too, so it's really good advice.
You can build, they say you can build a house in 6 months, and it takes a long time to build a lot of good character. And, the Jet Reynolds that I mentioned earlier was a math teacher, and he stepped in the high school. And, I don't think he was probably a great hockey person in terms of X and O's and hockey knowledge and all that, but he stepped to the plate to coach us. And, he used to pick us up at 5 a.m. in his pickup truck, 4 of us in the neighborhood on his way to the rink, and we'd pile in. And, he cut a hole in the back of his truck to be able to put the heat in the back so we're not freezing at 5 a.m. And, I think he improved me as much as anybody because he improved, how I thought and how I felt about, the bigger things that are more important. And, certainly, you want to be bookend by some other guys. Arlie Parker was a great hockey guy, and the Cazios and the Coakleys up there that taught me were great hockey guys. But, I think for youth hockey coaches, don't get too caught up in the X and O's. Teach as much as you can teach. But, everybody can provide a real positive environment. And, I've been in this a long time, and you know what? I've been here 21 years, and I can tell you right now, the guys that are coming back this weekend for Alumni Weekend, it doesn't matter what they did in terms of who was an All-American and all that. Their favorite guy is the best teammate. The favorite guy is their best teammate, without a doubt. So, for kids listening, if it's all about trying to get the accolades, aim for that one. Be the best teammate on your team, and you'll be remembered about your buddies forever.
Yeah, those are some quite wise words. It's amazing. Everybody we've interviewed, everybody has a different key piece.
Well, if you're going to call me wise, I might need you to get in touch with a couple of my old high school teachers.
I got to be honest with you, and I know Dan wants to talk a little bit about the Pulaski game, but I got to be honest with you. I had asked the guy who coaches with me in a spring summer hockey program that we run called Unity Hockey. His name is Bob Tamaris, and he told me to say hello from his dad, Glenn. He was going to jump on tonight, but he has to go to lacrosse practice. So he said, well, you tell Coach I said hi. He knows who I am, and he knows my dad quite well. So
100%.
Just giving you a hello from him.
His dad's one of the best power play coaches out there. So I probably should call him because we need some work there.
But Dan, I'll let you jump into the game because I know you had a heck of a time in Pulaski. Keeping up with the pace of the game, you'd say every week as a broadcaster.
Yeah, so it was terrific, right? This whole broadcasting games is new to me. It started off, during COVID out of necessity. The reason why I do the play-by-play is because I can't keep my mouth shut. There's just no way that's going to happen. And I've really enjoyed it. I had a blast doing the play-by-play for your game in Pulaski. And I've watched plenty of college hockey, watched plenty of pro hockey, but never tried to describe it play by play. And, that really opens your eyes to just how much faster it's moving compared to anything else at the youth level.
Well, especially too in a smaller barn like that, you're right on top of the ice, and it's a little easier to call. It's just like when you're scouting, that game it is a lot faster when you're 20 feet away versus 200 feet away.
Right. Yeah, I tell you, the largest person I ever noticed is when I was on the same baseball diamond as a D1 baseball athlete. I was like, oh my God, and you didn't make the cut, right, to make it to the pros? It's ridiculous. So yeah, same idea. It's like, holy cow. So tell me, how did you get to Pulaski? How did that game come about?
Well, basically we had a game during New Year's tournament up in Middlebury that got canceled. The other team had COVID, so they couldn't come. And same thing with Potsdam. They had some things that have shut down. So, we were scrambling you just want to get your players games. And so I had called around, and fortunately, Chris up at Potsdam was, he jumped on the opportunity, and to make it work for both schools in terms of, instead of it being at their place or being at my place, and having to deal with that scheduling, I'd done it once before with Elmira, where we did a neutral site at a youth rink up in Skinny Atlas, and that's basic. I said, well, let's try and find a place in between here and there. And my boys played youth hockey, and we had played up there in Pulaski before, so I knew the rink. And I said, well, I know there's a rink in Pulaski, so I gave Watertown a call and gave you guys said, bam, we'll do it. And we were there, and it was an awesome experience because, everybody on my bus, and, sometimes you see the big buses in the glamour a little bit, and those guys had a ball there. I mean, they'll be talking about, the Zamboni
hosed off in the Zamboni.
So, that's what it's supposed to be all about. it's a good game. Guys that want to play hockey and get a game in, and fortunately it worked out for us win-wise. But it also worked out. We needed to get another game in. We only played 3 games last year because of COVID, and the last thing I wanted to do is be short games this year. So basically, was trying to find a game, and youth hockey program up there was outstanding. Basically they said, yeah, we could fit you in, and they moved some stuff around and opened up a game slot for us. So it was awesome.
Yeah. If the weather had cooperated, we would have had that place packed. It was a complete whiteout. I don't even know how the bus driver drove in that to get you guys there.
Getting there wasn't bad. They did. To be honest with you, I know they were worried, nervous about us going and all of that. But I was like, hey, we're going to Pulaski. I mean, snow is not making you nervous there, right? So it's just kind of getting there. But certainly, for people jumping in their cars and stuff, they got to make the safe decision. So we get that.
So next year, I propose that we do this every year, host some kind of a college game there. I don't want to speak on behalf of the Salmon River Ice Hockey Association, but that'd be awesome if we.
Yeah, I know they would love to too. So it's certainly not out of the thinking of myself. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was a great time, and the amount of data and information that I received between periods from was that Mackenzie.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Like in terms of the stats. Yeah.
Holy cow. Right. Those are things that I've had dreams about, and I didn't know what to do with it once he handed it to me. I was blown away by the amount of data that he collects on the fly.
Yeah. Well, it's take a quote from Paul Coffey. I coach one of his sons on my team, Blake, and he said, things are going good, work harder. Things are going bad, work harder. And, that's from a Hall of Famer and who is a pretty talented individual, and to say the least. And, it kind of resonates that, that's his motto a little bit. Yeah. So when you get all that information, you don't know what to do with it, tell the guys to work harder. Winning or losing.
Yeah. I mean, how much of that stuff do you use between periods? Because I know he was running copies to you, and you had a film crew too that was, I don't know, bringing some.
Yeah, you use what you can use. You certainly can't overload the guys, but case in point, say face-offs. If you're not pushing 60% on the face-offs, you got to get better. And so your shots are important to certainly know how. If we want to shoot everybody, we outshoot everybody we play. But sometimes knowing where we're getting shots from and the quality of the shots is important. So you look through it pretty quick, and you pick out what's important to relay, and you leave what's really not critical out of the equation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I still haven't spent enough time just going back and reviewing the game film from my own feed and looking at everything I got from Mackenzie to be like, oh, that would have been great to have remembered.
Yeah,
it's probably kind of a check
too. So
it's probably kind of a check for the players too, Coach. Huh? They go to a rink like Haldane, and it's not so much like, I'm sure it's not so much like the Hobart locker room as it is like the Bantam locker rooms we're used to and they were used to back in the day. It's going back in time a little bit for them to get ready for a game and be in that environment. It must be kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a culture of hockey that I hope we never lose in terms of being a humble pro. And just like us, we have a tradition. If you win, I hand out a game puck to somebody that's very deserving, and it might be a goalie that gets a shutout. And but in the tradition of hockey, he doesn't get to keep that game puck. He's got to pass it on to someone else. And I take that from the old hockey interviews that you see and the new ones that you see, the recent ones you see of somebody gets a great goal. The first thing he says, it was a great pass. Mm-hmm. And so going up there, playing there, guys have been in those rinks as youngsters, so it really wasn't a big rattle for them.
Right.
It was probably about 30 seconds to a minute when they realized there was no showers. But then I'm pretty sure they probably just flipped the switch and said, "Well, we'll figure that out after the game." So, and it worked out great, because 10 years from now, when they're coming back for alumni weekends, they're going to say, remember that game we played up in Salmon River? And had to use the hose to get cleaned off a little bit. That's what they're going to remember.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be a part of somebody's memories for sure. And then running through the rink, right? Sopping wet. Holy cow, that's not a warm rink. I had to keep my 15-year-old daughter away from that area during that time.
Yeah, our rink is dubbed the cooler, so our rink isn't certainly a sauna, so it can get fairly cool down here too. So they're used to that.
So
Yeah,
terrific. Trey, what questions do you have for Coach Taylor? It's a real coach, not just
I don't
your
know.
dad, you know.
Ray wants to know about Paul Coffey. He heard Paul Coffey's name.
Do you have any advice for me?
Any advice? Keep enjoying it. Work hard. Just you work hard. Stay positive. Stay after things. That's do the best you can. And we have a motto here that we use, and it's conduct by character. Just do things with good character. Work hard, full effort, and complete character. That's what I ask of my guys. I don't care if you're the most talented guy or the least talented guy. Give me all your effort and do it with the right type of character.
Yeah. So what do you mean by that full character?
Well, the full effort and complete character is when I say that to it's a guy out there playing on the ice. You got to do it with full effort. You can't be lazy. You got to give it full effort, and it's got to be the right type of character. You can't take shortcuts. You can't be cheap about it. You can't cheat about it. And those are the type of kids that I look for in their game. Is who goes out there game in and game out and competes. I mean, a lot of guys like to play, but do they want to compete? And there's a difference between playing and competing. You compete to win. You play to enjoy. And if you're, you can still be playing and competing. And I don't know if that makes sense, but to me, over the years, I think there's a difference in that. And it's like, you go out and play golf and just to play. But if you're out there to compete, you play a little harder.
Yeah.
And I guess that would be the difference. So, but for me, hey, we all steal from other people. I think I got it out of a line of books for kids, and what I saw was full effort, and I might have changed it in terms of full effort and complete character, and for me, I was raised that whatever, if you're shoveling the driveway, if you're sweeping the floor, do a good job, do it with good effort, do it right,
Yeah.
And that's what I expect from my guys. Hopefully that's the way they're going to be. If you're walking by the locker room and somebody missed the trash barrel with a tape ball, pick it up, if it's the same guy, throw it at him, tell him to pick it up, so he doesn't do it again. But just kidding with that, but not really, take ownership and everything that you do.
It's hauntingly familiar that a lot of the things you're saying, because we interviewed Steve Moffat, the coach of Plattsburgh, who I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
And he was talking about, we were asking him, how does he select players and what does he look for in players, and and they have a pretty, obviously, you guys have a pretty esteemed program, and they have a pretty esteemed program as well. And he was saying a lot of the character is a big thing with him in the selection process. He says, there's a lot of talented guys out there. It's, the ones with good character that I don't want to say you don't have to worry about that. Those are my words, but we're going to do the right thing when nobody's looking kind of guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the development stages when guys come in, as a first year, you're kind of naive to the whole process. And then you want to be able to, take hopefully halfway through your first year, you want to start being purposeful and being impactful. And the senior that's there playing with you, you can't be naive your whole freshman year. I mean, freshmen are counted on to have an impact.
Right.
And your sophomore year, hopefully you're really focused and you're starting to take ownership of the program, and you go into your junior year and you become a real leader of the program and driver in the program, and you start getting on a mission to have a real successful campaign. And hopefully you're at that point your junior year, so the next year you're at that point again, so you have a chance to maybe repeat the success that you just had.
Yeah.
Do you do anything to help them mature through those phases, or do you watch and see how it shakes out and who takes what roles?
No, you got to push buttons.
Mhm.
You know, I heard it from a good coach. He says, it's like, that old doctor's game. Remember, you used to play as a kid, and you go to get the ear and stuff. Some guys need an ear tweak. Some guys need a nose twist and a good slap in the shoulder. Or, hopefully none of them need a punch in the head. But just kind of, and sometimes somebody just needs a good pat on the back. And a lot of your guys. I mean, my first Hall of Famer here. Greg Gallagher, I spoke more to him after his career than I did when he was here. Mm-hmm. For one, he wasn't a talker, he was a doer. And, I remember when he was my captain and we were playing a pretty inferior team and he didn't play the right way his freshman, the Friday night. And I grabbed him and I was just like, you're my captain. And you didn't play good. You didn't play hard. You knew you could play less, and that's not acceptable. And he says, Coach, don't say anymore. I don't deserve to play Saturday. Mm-hmm. That was it. That's my best player. That's my captain. And it's funny that year, another future captain, Andy Brennan, was a freshman. And later on, when he was helped build the culture here, he said that was a real defining moment for him to see that, hey, didn't matter who you were. If you're not going to do it the right way, it doesn't matter if you're, the best player on the team. And certainly Gal is one of my favorites because he's a great team guy and a great competitor. But, everybody takes the same test.
Yeah. I kind of have a question on that, Coach, because we have a lot of young listeners in high school and junior high, and I know that I have a friend that played lacrosse there. He actually coaches with us up here. His name's Mike Lazor. He went to Hobart and played football there too for the Statesmen, and he's done quite well for himself after. And I know that it's a pretty challenging institution academically. And I was wondering if you could speak a little bit to how important grades are not only to kids in junior high school and high school, but even in college.
I wish I heard of it. Grades are so important. I talk to youth groups and families all the time, and your grades, your SATs. There was an interview with Ray Ferraro not too long ago where he was talking about the importance of different things, and he's talking about how tough it is to get to the National Hockey League and so on and so forth. And and everybody thinks full scholarships fall off of trees. Right. And I tell parents all the time, if you want to guarantee yourself money for college, get good grades. There's schools out there and click on their website. If you've got X amount on your SAT, you qualify for $13,000, $20,000. It depends. Different schools are different. So you can do a good job academically and help yourself out. And it not only helps yourself out outside of the sports, but if I'm at Lowell, and that's a perfect case in point, I'm looking at player A and player B, and they're the same skill level, and one can get academic money, and I can pocket my athletic money. I'm going with the academic money, kid. Mm-hmm. So, you might tip the scale, you might tip your athletic opportunity because of your academic achievement. And for the listeners that are out there that are thinking, yeah, geez, I'm not that good of a student. And, it's never too late because colleges look at that. They look at kids that, maybe weren't doing well their freshman year and then all of a sudden figured it out, which means grew up a little bit. Right. And grabbed the academic bug, or maybe they just found their passion academically. And, their junior and senior year, they're hitting good numbers, and, they have teachers behind them that are writing them great recommendations because they're workers. And, I've seen a lot of kids come into this school, 2 Ivy League schools I've worked at, with fancy test scores, but got in here and buckled down and did the work. And I'll take a B- student, B student with great character over an A+ student with the highest board scores that doesn't have good character every day of the week.
Mhm.
I know which one will guarantee to probably that the kid with good character and solid grades and a work ethic and a determination to do the best he can might not walk out of here an A student, but he'll walk out of here a good student.
Right.
And he'll achieve here. I've seen guys come in here that, admissions helped me,
Yep.
So to speak, or believed in me and believed in the kid, and same at other places. And, one of those kids that I'm thinking of, it was probably one of the toughest kids coming in here, probably was anchor in my class. He went on to school after graduating here. And, he caught the bug and he figured it out, and he fast-tracked academically here. So it is tough, but you got a lot of time in college. And, you know what? Life's tough.
Right.
It's, everything's hard, so you might as well embrace it and realize that's just part of living.
Yeah, for sure.
So those
Great
kids they need to do well academically.
Right.
It's not going to be something that falls out of the sky for them, and it doesn't. I don't think anybody should sell themselves short. If they think they're too late on hitting the grades, you're never too late. I've seen it. I've seen guys, salvage themselves to halfway through their junior year, get a break. Maybe it's because of their athleticism that they get the break, but they also get the break too because they're showing that they can do it and have the potential. And then once they get the break, they exhaust it. So it's awesome to see.
Great.
I don't know if I answered your question that way.
No, you did. It's
That was
well, you have a
terrific.
lot of listeners that are, in that they have to understand, and there's a lot of challenges right now with grades and in the COVID environment and in school attendance, and how hard are you going to work, and how. So I think they need to realize all that stuff. You know what I mean? They need to realize that hard work wins out in the end.
Yeah. Well, hey, geez, I wish I took typing when I was in high school. My fingers are getting shorter, because I'm one of these two finger guys. And certainly English wasn't my forte by any means. And, but I try to speak a lot of languages. I lived 2 years in Sweden, and I think my English teachers were rolling over in their graves when they found out I was teaching English over there. I tell them I was kind of like the guy teaching it in the movie Stripes. I don't know if you guys ever saw that movie.
Yeah.
Dan, you've seen that, right?
Oh, I love that movie. Yeah.
That was me teaching English in Sweden. So they didn't
Trey's a
have
big
anything to
Sweden
worry
fan, right, Trey? Trey's a big
Yeah.
Swedish fan. He's a couple of his favorite players are from Sweden.
about. Yeah.
Coach played over.
Great people, great country.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I saw in your bio, Coach, that you take the Hobart team over to Europe like every 4 years, or to Germany, or somewhere across the pond there. Can you talk a little bit about that? How'd you come up with that, and why? What do you get from that?
Well, you know what I did? I did that when I played for Terry Martin at Canton. We did a European trip, and to be honest with you, that triggered me to thinking that, hey, maybe I can play over here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do it for a lot of the same reasons Terry used to do it, was to give his players an exposure to certainly the rest of the world. What I saw over there from being from Canton, New York, and it was an eye opener.
Right.
And so for me, I do it. Certainly some kids will never get over there.
Mm-hmm.
Life just moves on for you, and more so now than back in the '80s. Everybody's a little bit more of a worldly traveler now. But I bet you there's guys on my team that will never get back over there. Two, it's an awesome experience to build the culture of the program. We go wherever. What I try and do is look what's the best bang for the buck in terms of travel experience, what we can see culture-wise, and that part of it, and who we can play. We can play, the NCAA rules allow us to play the pro teams over there, and it doesn't hurt your eligibility. That allows our guys to see how they would stack up and where they might be able to play over there. We can do it once every 3 years. We're actually supposed to go last year and that got pushed off because of COVID to this year. And then because you still have to test coming back in the United States, we just couldn't do it this year. So hopefully next year we're going over. So it's just a great culture experience. I mean, you read about the concentration camps in high school or college, what have you, and it's a little bit different walking around one.
Mm-hmm.
And my guys have skied the French and Italian Alps. They've done things. We've taken a train up the highest glacier. The bucket list stuff that you only get to do once in your lifetime. So it's a great trip. You're just exposing yourself to the world a little bit, and also, igniting some stuff hockey wise.
Right. Well, next time, if you want to bring it along an announcer, I mean,
hey, you never know.
I'd be glad to tag along for that ride.
We could do the Power Play podcast from somewhere in Europe.
Absolutely. Live from the Alps, no doubt.
Yes. Hey, Coach, I know you have practice at 7:30, so we have to let you go. I got to ask you one question.
Yeah.
Is there still any? I mean, you've been everywhere. Like you've been at UMass and Cornell and these Ivy League schools. And is there any love left for St. Lawrence hockey? I know you must have grown up following that as a kid in New York.
For sure. There's my nephews are Sean and Kyle Flanagan, both played at St. Lawrence, and that was my rink. We didn't have the Canton rink when it's all my youth hockey and high school.
No
hockey
pavilion.
Nope. So I've got great memories on the ice there. I got great memories running around the stands there. I got probably my first kiss was some sweetheart public skating there. So
watched them this weekend lose to Clarkson after being up 4-2, and I was not very happy.
Didn't they tie though the next night?
No, they lost 1-0 up. They lost 1-0 at Shield, and then they were up 4-2 going into the third, and Clarkson got 2, and then nothing happened in overtime.
So they tied that.
Well, technically that's a tie, right? Yeah. Well, Clarkson won the shootout, and you're never gonna hear the end of that when Clarkson wins the shootout, right?
Yeah.
So I guess before we jump off, you guys have any other questions of Coach, so we can let him go to practice?
Yeah, I'd say we've always got an ice slot for you in Pulaski. I'll make sure of it.
Sounds good. I appreciate it. Hey, it was great. I'm glad you guys had us up there. I really am. You saved us, and you added a neat experience for my players. So I owe you. You guys don't owe me.
We'll get a shower head for that hose next time.
Don't worry about that. I don't think they were complaining.
Great.
All right. Terrific.
All right. Take care, guys.
All right, Coach. Thanks for being on. Good luck the rest of the season, Coach.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Wow.
Oh, another great interview. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's funny. The connections to the North Country and just, these guys are. Who do we have on the iPhone? Did Will Vokey join us?
Yeah,
I saw him pop in for a minute, and then I saw him float out.
Yeah.
How's it going?
What's up,
Hey, Will. How's it going, buddy?
How's it going?
Pretty good. Can you hear us?
Yep.
Let's get some video. You got any video so the folks on YouTube can see you? I know you were skating around outside in the outdoor rink at your house or something, I heard.
Bill?
There we go.
There he is.
Oh, you got yourself figured out right and everything. Why didn't you do this before? You could have talked to the
you could have talked to the coach.
I got on, I don't know, 15 minutes ago or something like that. So yeah, it was a good interview.
He's a pretty interesting guy, huh? Hey, special intro. Will's on with his phone, but I just do a little special intro because our co-host Cam Dallin is not feeling well this week, during recording, and Trey wasn't feeling well last week, so we had Daniel on, and now we have our special guest, the legendary Will Vokey,
coming in from center, number 7, Will.
Number 7,
Vokey.
Number 7, Will Vokey of Lowville, New York. Right, Will? Is that correct?
Yep.
Well, I like that shirt, Unity Lacrosse. That's pretty cool. I don't necessarily know if I like that.
Unity Lacrosse.
Good stuff, huh? So what do we got up next, D-Dan Dallin? You got anything else? We could talk a little bit about broadcasting schedule or games. I have a bunch of game reports.
I got trivia.
I don't know if you wanted trivia? To talk anything about the upcoming Unity program, whether it be the lacrosse opportunity or hockey. I believe some paperwork was just due on Friday. I don't know if there's any extensions on that.
Oh, well, that's a good point that we brought up. We are in the process right now of forming our Unity hockey spring-summer teams for 2022. We're forming teams at several levels. We have an 18U team. We had extensive interest in the 18U team. It's going to be about 18 players. We had extensive interest in the 16U team. We have about 25 plus interested players for that team. And then after that, we go by year. So we have a 2008 team, which is going to be coached by Coach John Terry. And there's a lot of interest in the 2008s. Those would be second year, going into second year Bantams. And then the 2009s will be coached by John Rose. John was a coach last year in our 12U team. He brought a team to 4 tournaments, and I think they won 3 of the 4. So they had some great luck. We have Jordan Reber and Tom Ice that are going to be coaching a 10U team or a squirt level team. Been some great interest there. And then we have Corey Keegan, who is in the process of forming a 14U girls team. And there's been huge interest at that level, 14. There's a lot of different interest at the girls level. We're actually going to post something today for a 16U girls team because we've had some interest there as well. So the hockey thing is going really well. The lacrosse thing is going real well. There's actually an instructional clinic being held right now by Unity Lacrosse at the YMCA in Watertown, New York, every Monday night. Every Monday night through the beginning of the high school lacrosse season. So a lot of great things going on there, Dan. So thanks for the opportunity to talk about that because it's between the lacrosse program and the hockey program. We affect greater than 200 athletes during the course of the year, probably closer to 250 athletes. It's a 501c3 nonprofit program that really tries to provide opportunities for kids to play competitive lacrosse and hockey on club level teams, whether it be single A level all the way up to triple A level or intermediate level all the way up to advanced level in lacrosse. So it's a really great thing that we have going on. Will's rocking one of our shirts right now. Thanks for that promo, Will. It looks really nice. There you go.
So, Will, what position do you play in lacrosse?
I play midfield most of the time.
Nice.
That's because he has great cardio and he can run up and down the field. That would be like a forward. Yeah, it's a lot of running.
I don't know my positions in lacrosse yet. Working on it. Something I'm going to have to get to work on. Learning more about lacrosse. I'll get there.
Ties in closely with hockey. I mean, I think there's just a lot of similarities. Don't you, Will? Very similar to hockey, don't you think?
Yeah.
So a midfielder can go.
They pair nicely.
Midfielder can cover the entire field, right? A forward's defense has to stay at their ends. Is that right? So a midfielder is kind of like a center, right? You got to play offense and defense.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Oh, well, there you go. I got it all figured out now. Good.
There you go. Now you can start broadcasting games. We were trying to get you to do that for our tournament, but you were busy that weekend with something that Bailey was doing, I think.
Yes, I do believe that was the case, right? It was a Bailey thing. Yeah, got to pay attention to your senior, Holy cow.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Trey, what do you have? You want to do Trey's trivia before we get into some of Dan Dallin's broadcasting schedule over the past week, and then we get into some game reports? You want to talk anything about your trivia? You have some questions?
Yeah, just want to give a shout out to Mr. Esposito.
Yeah.
Gave me a new trivia book.
Oh.
Right here.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks to the Esposito family, right? They're big supporters. Yep. Cooper, Tanner, Tim, big supporters of the Power Play podcast. I can tell you that. They're always sharing our message. Oh, that's Mario Lemieux right there. Pittsburgh Penguins. I know Will likes the Pittsburgh Penguins, so that's probably good for him.
Yep.
All right, Trey, you're up.
All right. So the theme for this trivia is Stanley Cup.
Okay.
So the first question, start off with an easier one. Which team has the most Stanley Cups?
Boo. Montreal Canadiens. But they don't have the most championships of any sport. I'll tell you that.
That would go to the New York Yankees, and he's always throwing that one around there. But it is the Montreal Canadiens, and I think it's something like, I'm going to go on a limb here, Trey, and say it's 23.
I was going to go 26.
26.
It's 26?
24.
24? Oh, okay.
I will say this, that it's been almost 30 years since they've won one.
Yeah.
That makes me happy as a Boston Bruins fan.
93?
Yeah, well, it's 2022.
No, it was
29 years.
Last year.
Yeah, I think it was. It was they won it against Wayne Gretzky and the Los Angeles Kings.
Yep.
That may have been like the highlight was they beat Gretzky.
Yeah.
All right. The next question. This one's very difficult, so I gave you guys I did a multiple choice for this one.
Let's give it to me without the multiple choice because I love to be challenged on trivia.
Okay. Which NHL player baptized his son inside of the Stanley Cup? Yeah, it's difficult.
All right, just how about a team that he played for? I love the little hints along. How about a team?
I don't know.
You don't even know?
I don't know any teams that he's played for. I've never heard of this guy, but I have multiple choice with a couple different names.
All right. Well, then we'll take the multiple choices. Will, don't look it up on the internet.
Okay. Option one.
Okay.
Curtis Joseph.
Cujo. No.
Cujo.
Option two. Mario Lemieux.
I'm pretty sure you know who that is. So no.
Option three. Owen Nolan. And option four. Sylvain Lefebvre.
Lefebvre.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now.
Lefebvre.
As far as I know, Curtis Joseph never even won a Stanley Cup, so I don't think it's him. Mario Lemieux, no way. Mario's too cool for that.
Number four.
Yeah, number four, Sylvain Lefebvre.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the French guy being a Roman Catholic. Yeah.
That would be correct.
Check it out.
See, that's how you take multiple choice tests.
Exactly. Go with number four.
If you can eliminate one, your guessed answer is likely to be right. You improve your odds by much more than 25%. It's almost 50% better.
Okay. Coming off their 1972 Cup win, the Boston Bruins' name was misspelled on the Stanley Cup. How was it spelled? This was right in your time, Dad.
Yeah, geez, I never heard that. I'm going to say that it was Boston was spelled correct, but Bruins was spelled wrong, and they messed up the I and the U.
Incorrect.
I'm going to say they swapped the R and the U.
Incorrect. It actually was Boston.
I'll go BASTAN. No.
Boston.
No, BASTON.
Boston.
Boston. The correct answer is BQSTQN.
QO. When you've been drinking all night, the keys look so similar.
The Q's and the O's look the same.
Yeah, I guess so.
There's a lot of misspellings of the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, there are. And there's a lot of X outs too. There's a lot of guys that have had to have their stuff X'd out because they did stupid things after.
Yep.
All right, Trey, that's good trivia. Big thanks to Espo for that book. Is that the same book that D. Dan Dallin has?
No, I pulled mine off the internet.
It's too frugal to buy the book. He's like, I just get trivia off the internet.
Hey, some of my trivia this past weekend had to do with Groundhog Day because Groundhog Day is this week.
Oh, that's right. All right, what do we got, Dan? You want to jump into anything specific?
Yeah, This past weekend, the Oswego girls, did you get any game reports from?
I did.
Okay.
I got a great game report.
Yeah, then I will not steal their thunder.
Well, you broadcast those games, so we can maybe do a tandem on that.
I did. I did not do their final game. I had to go to Corning.
Okay.
I almost gave Bobby a call. So we were at Ithaca College, right?
Okay.
Not Ithaca. Elmira College.
Elmira. Yep.
Yeah. So, I was doing 18U game there for Bailey for Salmon River against Corning. Where the heck is it? There they are. Salmon River came away and Colin Bennett got a shutout 6-0 in that game that got riddled with penalties.
Really?
They weren't being ticky-tacky. They let a lot of things go. It's just that they had to call some, otherwise that game was going to get out of control. They did hand out a technical 2 and 10 for unsportsmanlike because of a Salmon River player that just mouthed off to a ref. Ref was saying, like, I'm getting really tired of calling all these penalties, and this player said, "Isn't that your job?" Boom.
That's not a good idea.
Sent him to the box. Yep.
Sent him to the box.
Oh, yeah.
So, let me highlight that Buccaneers tournament that you're talking about.
Yeah,
because got a great report from Jillian Keegan. She's always good for a nice report. Jillian Keegan, if her brother Daniel talked as much as she writes, would be good. I mean, Trey and I were chuckling at Daniel's appearance on the last podcast, weren't we, Trey?
Yeah.
He's just got to get comfortable. You throw somebody on camera that's not used to it, and
look at Will though. Look at Will. He's chilling over there. He's like Joe Podcast already, ready to go, right?
Yeah.
No, yeah.
It's the difference between a center and a winger.
Exactly. So let's talk about the Oswego Lady Buccaneers tournament at Twisted Sticks. Was that the name of it? I think Twisted Sticks.
That is correct.
Skinny Atlas, New York. Some games are broadcast by the Dan Dallin. You can find them on YouTube. The Dan Dallin broadcasts more games than probably anybody else in New York or probably North America, actually, for youth hockey. TheDanDallin.com, too. So the first game, 12U Skinny Atlas Lakers. The Bucks tied him 2-2. Goal scored by Jillian Keegan. I think this is why she writes this stuff, because she scores all the time. I wish her brother put a few more goals in. Jillian Keegan and Gabby Martin. So she scored one more goal this week, and then Daniel did, I think. The second game, Daniel, I'm just joking with you.
That game against Skinny Atlas, another outstanding performance by both teams. It is so exciting to watch the two of them play. So Bailey, right, my 18-year-old, almost 18-year-old, he was there, and he was like, that was really exciting for 12U girls. And I was like, these games are always that exciting. We had a blast. He did color commentary for that game a little bit. I had a hard time getting his headset to work out right. It's a challenge I've been having with this computer. I just got a new adapter for me to utilize to try to make that work. We've had problems before too, Trey, when you and I have done it. We've had reports you can't hear you and whatnot, and I don't know. So I'm trying some kind of a workaround, see if I can get that to work. But he had some good insight into the game. Watching the game was great. The two goals for Skinny Atlas were both scored by number 9, Evelyn McNally. And there are just some girls there that I nonstop talk about, like Allison Pierce. She is all over the ice with that puck. Kiara Etal doing a great job grabbing pucks. Morgan Cuthbert, incredible on defense. Just a few. Sophia Cater-Syker, number 2. Her name is so long, but you say it so often, right? She's playing that right defense position, hole in the blue line. They're a fun team to watch. The girls always play along great. I had a lot of interaction in the chat too with Allison Pierce's mother. And after the final game on Sunday, which I was not at, she knew I wasn't there. She sent me a picture of the Oswego girls celebrating at the end of their game. So it's just interesting to see the bond that I'm able to form with some of the people that are watching the games, relying on me to provide it. It's super cool. And
I saw it when we were in Whitestown last week. On Sunday when we were in Whitestown. I don't want to talk about the game. I think I'll gloss over that, but they were really excited that you were there to do the broadcast, and they knew all about you. So, and what's amazing is you learn how to pronounce some of these long names and these people's names. I'm sure you have a lot of input on who's telling you how to do that on chat and everything else.
I have some weird uncanny knack to be able to get super, super close to some of these odd last names, or non-traditional last names, I should say, from the old country, if you will. But yeah, then I will
Vokey.
get help.
Vokey's a tough one. Vokey. Ledoux's a little more difficult.
I don't know. Most people can get it. Most people can get it.
Yeah, I'm sure they can.
That
Will Vokey.
That was sarcasm, Will.
That was sarcasm, Will.
It wasn't. Jeez.
Yeah, so come on. Your name's easy. Okay, second game, 12U Rome Grizzlies. I'm going to get going with this. Bucks lost 3-6. Peyton Colucci scored. Heard that name before. Claire Furlong scored. Heard that name before. Marisha Sharkey. Wow, these girls, you guys are scoring a lot of goals. Third game was against Binghamton 12U boys. Bucks tied them 1-1. Good job, Bucks. Mia Nauman scored the only goal. Fourth game was against Skinny Atlas again. Bucks won 3-2. Claire Furlong, Peyton Colucci. And the final standings in the tournament were Binghamton came in first. Rome came in second. The Bucks came in third, and Skinny Atlas came in fourth. So, Jillian, good job.
The idea that they tied that boys team, I thought, was terrific because this went on to win. Had nothing to do with them being boys.
Right.
Had those girls actually played a better game, which they're fully capable of doing, they could have come away with that win. It was really close, but they played outstanding. And their coach even remarked to them, if you play this hard in every game, we wouldn't lose. They would not have lost to the Grizzlies that morning. I was not there for that game, but I understand it was not well played by those girls.
Yeah, let's do that. Well, I've been there. Like Coach said, they're kids, so.
Yeah.
All right. Jumping on to some more youth hockey. Let me see here. I have a lot. I'm going to give you some Watertown updates, and there's a lot of them. So if you guys could just bear with me. 12U Red input from Charlie Nutting in the field. Charlie Nutting's a goalie on the 12U Red team. And I just want to give a huge shout out. This team has really been ripping it up this year. Red Pee-wees for Watertown. 5-0 in the tournament that they just played in. And they were playing some legitimate competition. Mikey Nichols was a goalie, won MVP on Saturday in the game against Lysander. Great team there. They had several MVPs they had an MVP of each game. Silas was MVP of one of the games. Silas Gorski. Roran he's a great little goalie. MVP of the other game. Cooper Esposito. Dom Wisner. And Mikey. What's Mikey's last name? Mikey Nichols. Mikey Nichols is a goalie. So the goalies did pretty well. They won the championship 4-2 and scored a goal with 3 seconds left. So obviously it was a 3-2 game, probably a goalie pulled and a tight game. John Rose's team do a great job. John Rose is also a coach on the Unity team for that age group. And I know he's a friend of the Vokeys. He's down there in Lowville. So awesome job. 14U White.
The 12U
from
team.
Bray Nutting.
That 12U Red team, though, they were they were in a different division, but they were at that Twisted Sticks tournament also. Wasn't that in Skinny Atlas? Weren't they there?
Is that what it was?
I think
sure.
if I remember,
I think it probably was. Yeah,
they were. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a big tournament. There was a lot of. It was a Pee-wee tournament. They just had 4 different divisions. So. And
then 14U White team, and they've been having a bump in the road. They were running along really well. 14U White for Watertown Bantams, and Bray Nutting got us back. Former Mullet of the Week winner. I always like to throw that out there. Coming back after several losses, went 3-0 for all Snowbelt games on the weekend. Rallied to win a couple games. Turner, they cited in the write-up. They cited Tanner Bergenstock as has shown up and doing a great job in the Ithaca game. Obviously, big praise for both Aiden and Brody and net. And 3 wins is a big jump for them because they had like I said, they had a couple of games where they weren't performing up to where they needed to. So that's great to see. I know that there's some good team bonding that went on there. Watertown 14U Red. I can talk real quickly about this. This is Will's team and Trey's team, and also Cam Dallin, who's down and out a little bit right now. Had a good weekend, and it's about time. So played in Auburn and had an 11-4 win. And there were a lot of different point scorers in that game. So a lot of kids to recognize. I don't know. You guys would know better, Will and Trey. Who got points in that game, or who did well in that game?
Well, Nick had 4 goals, and
Nick
then
Netto?
Will had 2.
4.
Yeah.
Will had 2. I had 1.
Yeah.
Trey, you had 1.
And
Nate had a first goal on the power play.
Trey got his goal by being there, though, right? That was
Yes.
a crazy goal. I went a little nutty when I saw that.
How did you describe that goal, Dan?
I think. Well, I said something like, it hit Ledoux in the chest and bounced into the net. He didn't fling it in; it just went in. I wonder if Trey's eyes were even open. That's what I said.
no,
it hit Trey your arm. Yeah, you have a bruise a little bit, right?
There.
Nice, well done.
On camera, but
Well, we've been harping on at practice getting guys in front of the net for deflections, and we've been working on a couple of deflection drills during our practices, just to kind of, and we got some results from some of that stuff this weekend. So I was pretty happy with it.
Yeah, that goal would not have gone in if you were not squared up properly. Any different of an angle, and that goes wide. Absolutely.
And I don't know what the player's first name is. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Willie.
Will, what'd you say?
What'd you say, Will?
See those guys on YouTube, the puck goes off their face and goes in or something like that. So
yeah,
keep a guy in front of the net.
Yeah,
exactly.
You didn't get
what's going to happen.
You didn't get any stitches off of it, Trey, so it's all right, right? No blood followed. You're good to go.
Yeah.
Dan, I know you were calling the game. I don't know if you had the roster, but there was a kid. I'm going to give some props to the kid from Auburn. His last name is Testa. Man, that kid can play some hockey. He ran their team. Everything went through him. I think
Noah Testa, number 89. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It was all him and a little bit of Ryan Mahar. Mahar could go end to end pretty well as also, but Testa had finishing moves that Mahar did not seem to have. There were a couple of times when Mahar was in the box, you saw Testa went in, came in deep, backhanded over to where Mahar should have been, but he was sitting in the box. I mean, Testa thought he was going to get like 3 more goals, but Ryan was in the sin bin. There was no way he's scoring from in there. So,
right.
I think actually Testa had a couple penalties, and we actually scored on every single penalty that Testa had.
Really?
Yeah. Hey, shout out to Owen O'Donnell, too. I think Owen O'Donnell had like 4 assists in that game. Owen's snake-bitten in the goal category right now. He's got to go shoot first mentality. I think he's already taken that up because I don't think Owen's a great little player, but he wants a goal pretty bad. He's been pressing. Who else scored in the 11-goal game? Do you guys remember? I don't want to spend too much time on that.
That's 4. Then I had 1, and Will had 2.
That's 5. 2. That's 7.
Then Nate had 1.
Yep.
Keegan.
What about Bryce? Keegan?
Cameron had 1, right?
So goals. I had Taylor. You're talking about the Auburn game?
Yeah.
Right. Yep. Taylor, Keegan, Neto, Vokey, Neto, Trey. Then
87.
9. Who's the 9 kid? Who's number 9?
Blake.
Blake.
Right. Blake. Then Vokey again. Then Neto, and then Keegan again. Keegan got second and last goal. So Keegan had 2. I didn't have any for Cam, although Cam told me he did one of those goals was his though.
I think it was. I think there's a mistake there.
Yeah, he did get 1.
Unless Daniel tipped it in or something.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah.
Daniel didn't get that.
Right, Will, you're absolutely right. That's right. As I look back and I say that the first goal, I thought Cameron rifled a shot and it went off of Daniel's stick into the goal, but Daniel said he never even touched it. So Cameron got that second goal. So it's Taylor and then Dallin, which is good. That saves me $1 because I pay for assists. Right, I pay for assists. So,
and then
that's also good. You're not biased to your son.
Exactly.
So
he doesn't show any favoritism.
So Trey, you're right. At the first period, Testa was in the box for a hold, and that's when Taylor scored. And then you know what? He was in the box in the third period. He was out. He was out for 1:05, and you guys got that goal. He went in at 25 seconds. You scored your first goal of the third period at 3:30. Oh no, that was them. I'm sorry, that was them. He scored right when he came out. Yeah,
when he came out. Yeah.
He was in the box twice. You scored on one of them. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They also had a 4-goal shift. I want to give them some props for that. Trey, Nick, and Owen had like a 4-goal shift it was a nice little shake and bake. Let's talk about the 4-0 game versus Ithaca. Brody Mack on a shutout. Brody Mack living up to the hype. Had a great game. Bringing some focus. He was battling some illnesses and things like that, but he brought some focus to the Ithaca game. And I felt like we really played a solid game. Goals in that game, I think Nick Netto was on the board again. I think was it Jacob? Did Jacob have something in that game, or Connor, or who scored in that Ithaca game, guys? Do you happen to remember?
It was.
I thought I saw on Karen's feed. I thought Jacob
what was the score? What was the score?
4-0, and I know Nick had one.
It was Connor, and then Nick, and then Bryce had 2.
That's right. That's right. Bryce had 2. Bryce was a little buzzsaw in that game. That's for sure. He did a great job. Will, you were getting bounced all over the place in that game, I think, weren't you? Defense, offense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the second game was Sunday. We played Ithaca in the morning, and then later in the afternoon we played the Canton Blades, or Canton Beers. That's what they like to call themselves, but they're like steel beers is what I would like to call them, because there's kind of both kids on that roster. They only played 10, but that was a fun little. Yeah, I think they had 10.
Oh yeah, maybe they had 2.
They did, and that was a 3-1 win for the Watertown Wolves, who. They're a formidable. I like Coach Briggs. He's a good dude, and they're a formidable opponent for sure. Nick Netto, another 2. Did he have 2 in that game? I know. I'll tell you one thing. Shaggy Nate had a sweet goal.
Yes, he did.
He did in that game. So that was a 3-1 game. Another good game by Brody. Great game all the way around, and really proud to come out with checking 3 boxes over the weekend. That was a big thing for us, is really getting back and getting to 20 wins on the season. So that's, it's not all about wins and losses. I totally understand that. It is about building character and developing great athletes, and we talk about that all the time in the locker room, because that's most important. But it's nice to set goals and accomplishments for the team. And we talked about it as a team. We've been kind of up and down lately. We win a couple, lose one, tie one, lose a couple, and we were really striving to find our pace, and we were able to do that. So it was a good weekend all the way around.
Check the boxes.
Check the boxes, exactly.
Check the boxes.
So let me see what else we have here.
Hey, Coach.
Yes.
One more thing.
Yep.
About the Auburn game, my dad and I talked to Brady Van Brocklin's dad, and he said that Brady's brother Owen played with that Testa in the Auburn game. Yeah. With his brother, Testa's brother, and they're a really nice family and everything, and so.
Yeah. I wonder if he played at Valley. So you could talk to the Van Brocklins about that. Yeah. Brady's been playing pretty well. It was a team out of
Syracuse, I think.
Yeah, at Valley probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brady's been playing pretty well. I don't give Brady his due. I talk about Jose and Cameron and Graydon and all that, but we got a good defensive core, and sometimes we shore it up back there with Will if we need help, if we got a guy in the box. And Connor Felder's all over the place between wing and defense, but that's that. We do have a good defense. Our goals against average is good, and our ratios are good. So, well, we're closing in on a little while here, Dan. So what else do we have before we wrap it up here?
Well, so you were asking like my broadcast schedule for this week. Tomorrow night is senior night for Ontario Bay. So it's Tuesday, February 1st. We'll be honoring the 3 seniors, Casey Wilson, Matt Olson, and number 22, Bailey the Shark Dallin. So we'll have the ceremonies at the beginning. I don't remember what time it all starts. It's slated for 7:00, and they've got practice. There is a practice on the ice before. It may start as early as 6:30, but that's about it. If you subscribe to the Dan Dallin on YouTube, you'll know exactly when it starts because I'll be streaming that live while I'm doing the in-rink announcing and honoring my senior on the ice. Good thing I've got 2 sets of wireless microphones. That's all I got to say for that.
That's good stuff.
So that's Tuesday. Wednesday, nothing. Thursday, I will be Liverpool's coming to Ontario Bay, so I'm going to be missing the IHC game. You're going down to Portland anyway. At the fairgrounds, right? Oh no, it's at home, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you're at home. So both teams are at home. I'll be at Obey, most likely. And then coming this weekend, the Dallin family will be in Lake Placid for the Empire State Games.
Sorely missed by us. IHC schedule has Rome Free Academy tomorrow, Tuesday at Kennedy Arena away. And then there's a tournament coming up this coming weekend, 4-5 in TI, the Clayton Ice Arena. So we look forward to that. And then next Tuesday is a head-to-head tilt with the powerhouse of hockey right now in the state of New York, one of the top 5 teams in the state, West Genesee, who's got a freshman. That would be a 9th grader who is leading the section in scoring right now by far. So West Genesee is a formidable opponent. I know that they had quite a game against Obey. I think they played them.
Yeah, it was.
And you covered that game.
It was 13-1. Obey was thrilled at the goal, rightfully so. And I did call that game. And the third period, they pretty much let us run drills.
Right.
I thought that was nice of them. That game easily could have been in the 20s.
Right.
But they didn't cross over our blue line. They let us dig it out, play it out, and then they started playing in the neutral zone, and they shut us down once we got into their end. So they worked on their defense pretty strong, setting up the box, and we got to try a lot of different breakout plays and see how they went. So it was good.
Awesome. Trey, what do you got? I know everybody out there is dying to hear a little bit about the Vancouver Canucks. So why don't you get some Vancouver Canucks info? How they doing? 19-19-6?
19-19-6.
And they got a big game tonight, right?
Yeah, 3 straight OTLs, overtime losses, get it 1 point.
Yeah.
You know, the last game that the Penguins played, they didn't even get a point. They lost 4-3 to the Kings. Right, Will?
I think he's throwing a little jab at you.
I know what. Well, they were winning. They had like 5 wins, something like that, in a row. Well, along those lines, and they've lost like 3 or 4 in a row now. So
they still have won the Stanley Cup, something the Vancouver Canucks have not done. Not that I'm throwing darts at you, Trey. I'm just saying. All right, I think we should probably put a wrap on this this week. We're trying to line up some interesting guests, and we are still working on some stuff with Coach Sherrill from Plattsburgh. We had him lined up, but then we had to cancel because we just had a jam-packed hockey schedule last week between Dan Dallin and myself. So that fell by the wayside with Coach Sherrill, but we'll get Coach Sherrill back on for sure. Plattsburgh State women's hockey, we really want to cover that. And I did hear from Mike Trimboli, the Messina head coach up in Messina, New York, who is the director of USA Hockey. I'd like to see if we can get Mike on next week. That'd be really cool if we're able to do that. So we'll be working on some great guests for everybody in the coming weeks. If you have any suggestions for guests, we would greatly appreciate it. The mullet of the week.
Suggestions or connections, right?
Or connections. Yeah, we're always looking for connections.
Just send an email to powerplaypodcastnny@gmail.com. It's super easy. Just powerplaypodcastnny@gmail.com. Nothing could be simpler than sending an email to powerplaypodcastnny@gmail.com.
And one thing that we learned during that interview was the coach coached Paul Coffey's son, who's a Hockey Hall of Famer. And like 5-time Norris Trophy winner, probably.
Right.
5 or 6.
Maybe we need to try to get him on, huh, Trey? Because we have somebody that's connected to Drake Batherson now. We have somebody that's connected to Paul Coffey. We have somebody that's connected to Ivan. And yeah, we have some. Ivan from Cape Breton. So that's pretty cool. We don't have a mullet/mop of the week winner because we are lacking submissions. So I am going to put that on social media and call for submissions for the mop of the week, because I know there's a ton of really nasty hockey here going on at about this point in the season.
You
so
know
we
what?
need to get some submissions.
I was thinking this the other day, we may need to just start taking pictures of some of these kids on the ice and choosing, hey, this is what we like, and then send them an email and let them know, hey.
That's a good idea.
Well,
I like it. Because there's kids on our own teams that have like Steve O'Mara's here. It's ridiculous.
Will has a pretty good flow going on.
Does he really?
Oh, thanks, Trey. Really. I just got my hair cut.
That's funny. And then we do have a winner of the 92 Challenge, which is really cool. 92 Challenge commemorating Wayne Gretzky's 92 goals in a season. And ironically, we don't usually do this because usually if you're an employee of the show, being paid at a very high rate, you can't win anything. But the winner of the 92 Challenge for a score of, let me just make sure I have everything correct on this, for a score of 100, 17 out of 17, quiz 9 in math, is Will number 7, Vokey, as submitted by his mom. He got 100 on quiz 9. He is, to quote his mother, way better at math than me, and probably in the Dan Dallin and Trisha Rich Ledoux realm of mathematics. So, Will, you are the winner.
It,
today.
Thank you.
That's the only submission we had, Will. We had to pick you, Will. You were the only submission. You're the last one, so you're like the man of the hour.
100 is pretty good.
It's pretty good, right? And the Dan Dallin loves math, so.
That's right. What level of math are you in? What are you doing? Algebra?
No, I'm in 7th grade. I don't have any advanced classes yet. It's
no. So you're getting a sprinkle. You're getting
math.
A sprinkle of everything, right? You're getting a little bit of everything, just a little taste of the waters. That's all right. Excellent.
And I'm really happy to say that because I actually got to have lunch yesterday with Will and his dad Franz, who's an esteemed hockey player and coach in his own right, hailing from Newfoundland. And we were talking about the podcast and how they listened to it. And Franz was telling me that episode 2 was screwed up when they went to listen to it last week. And episode 12 was playing as episode 2. And I said, we fixed it. So you really got to listen to episode 12 because it's Chad Cassidy was just a really fun interview for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you got to listen to our Jameson Coyle episode. That's my favorite.
Yeah, Jameson Coyle episode is really fun. I have to reach out to Jameson Coyle from the NHL Network soon. So I think we've covered everything, right, guys? Like our new Power Play podcast shirts, everyone? Pretty sharp. I think Will Vokey is going to get one of these for being a guest host on the Power Play podcast. So we might have to hook him up because we did hook up Daniel Keegan for being our guest host last week. So
excellent.
Got to figure out. I think Will probably takes a medium. What do you think, Will? A medium?
Small, probably.
Small? Now you need to get in the weight room then, buddy. Need to get in the weight room.
Does that make him taller?
Hey, I'm supposed to be doing a workout right now with my dad. I'm not joking.
I bet you are. And I always tell your mom, and it's true, Will, you got to be careful out there because you do play like you're 6'2", 215 pounds. You think you can just hit everything on the ice. Got to just watch out because you'll wind up like our boy Carter Nethers, who loves to hit everything on the ice and breaks collarbones and every other part of his body every time he's out there.
Well, I do hit him. It's just a matter of whether I bounce off the player or not.
That's true. Yeah, that's funny. All right, so without further ado, I think I'm going to leave it to my friend Dan Dallin to wrap us up for the week. I just want to say thank you to Will for joining us. Thank you to Coach Taylor for being on. That was really cool. It's great to have these awesome guests on. So, Dan, off to you.
We might want to just start walking through the streets of Canton and grabbing people because chances are they've coached in the NHL, right?
Right.
So thanks everybody for being here. Thank you for subscribing to Power Play Podcast NNY on YouTube, following us on Facebook, and subscribing wherever it is that you get your favorite podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to me, the Dan Dallin, on YouTube, because what's better than hearing more of me? So From all of us here, thank you very much. And remember, don't wait for it to be a good day. Make it a great day, everyone.